So at long last, the journey is finally over. After a long 7 weeks, The Last of Us Season 2 is officially a wrap. Now, I already came at the fan base for how they've been treating this season in the last video I put out. Shout out to y'all for running it up, by the way. Keep doing that. I appreciate it. So I'm not going to spend time doing that in this video. All I'll say is if you really was not messing with The Last of Us Season 2 as a whole, much less just the finale alone, just don't tap in for Season 3, bro. If y'all hated the Ellie show, just wait until the focus goes on Abby, who took out the man, the myth, the legend himself, Joel Miller. Good luck. We about to see bad review after bad review after bad review come Season 3. I will say though, I do have high hopes for Season 3. What was surprising to me is the reception of Abby's character this season despite the little of her we see in it. People were actually rocking with her portrayal, so maybe Season 3 will be more of a hit than I'm giving it credit for. If nothing else though, I definitely do look forward to seeing how Abby's story comes to life on screen and what changes they might make to her character and her origins in the series as opposed to the game. Back to the finale talk though, this episode was a mixed bag for me. I like how the theme of revenge was expounded upon in this episode, and we saw the aftermath of that revenge in it as well. We see for the first time this season that Ellie's path for revenge holds consequences. I also appreciated how this episode showcases how that revenge is affecting her internally though. We see in the scene where Dina's trying to get Ellie right after what she did to Nora in the last episode that she now 100% sees herself as the monster and questioning if Nora deserved what she got, and essentially letting Dina know, hey, I'm not as good as you might think I am. I don't know, it was a very powerful scene to me. I definitely felt the emotions that Bella Ramsey was giving off in it, as well as seeing that internal conflict with herself on whether or not this revenge path is even worth going on to begin with. I also like Jesse's inclusion in this episode too. He constantly challenged Ellie's need for revenge and how he's essentially better than her because he would never risk the community to do the things that she's doing in this season. In the making of this episode section of this episode, we have one of the staff mention that they are hoping that Ellie is hearing out what Jesse is saying to see things from a more mature perspective of understanding this road to revenge does not end well and that you only end up doing more damage than good, especially to those who are around you. We see the need for revenge almost take Ellie out altogether on not one, not two, but three separate occasions in this episode. We see in this scene that's ripped right out of the game, Ellie and Jesse having a conversation about going after Tommy. We know he and Jesse set out from Jackson not too long ago in order to retrieve Dina and Ellie, assess the situation in Seattle, and get back home. But at some point they separated and now Tommy is in trouble. On the other end of this radio, we hear Tommy apparently going at it with two WLF soldiers, we can assume. Sounds like he's got the upper hand, but Jesse's not trying to risk that. But Ellie, knowing who Tommy is, feels like he is fine in this situation. When she looks in those binoculars, she sees the whale that she heard Nora bring up in the last episode, and she's immediately fixated on it because she knows that's where Abby's supposed to be at. And that's where we have the ultimatum here. Either go with Jesse to help Tommy out or go to the whale and take out Abby. And we already know the choice Ellie makes in this scene. Now, a lot of people might use Ellie's stubbornness throughout this episode as a slight when it comes to their rating of the episode. But I actually feel like this stubbornness works and makes sense. There's something Ellie tells to Jesse in this episode along the lines of, oh, you think you're so much better than me because you wouldn't put your community at risk to do what I'm doing in this season. But whole time, my whole community, my whole world was taken from me in front of my face. So miss me with all that holier than thou talk. And Ellie is speaking fact. Without Joel, they never even make it to Jackson to begin with. And so in that way, I feel like Jesse and Ellie's conversations in this episode work even further because it pushes her to want to exact this revenge on Abby and her group of friends even more until she realizes that she might have pushed a little too far. I'm not even just talking about the end of this episode because we got Ellie going out to sea to make it to the whale only to get intercepted by this big ass wave that capsizes the boat and leaves her stranded on a whole other island where she's immediately approached by a Seraphite while she is still trying to get her bearings, only to find out it's an ambush. They take her to this part of the woods, hang her up, and are about to carve her insides out like they did that one dude in episode 5. But luckily, thanks to the plot, they ended up leaving her where she stayed. That's one thing I didn't like about this episode. Why did you have to include that? What was the purpose of including that if we're probably already going to get that side of things in Abby's storyline next season anyway? It just felt like some unnecessary struggle that Ellie really didn't have to go through because she ends up going to the whale after this anyway. So you might as well have just had her get stranded on the whale island to begin with. But I digress. She gets into the whale and is met by no opposition whatsoever. She literally walks up on Owen and what's her name and takes them both out, while also almost getting taken out in the process because I think Owen pulls a gun on her too. But as if killing them wasn't enough, we find out that old girl that Owen was with was pregnant. Ellie does what she can to save the baby, but she's too little too late. Craziest shit about all this is that Jesse and Tommy are literally right behind Ellie. Like if she could have just waited another 30 minutes, if she just ran with Jesse to go ahead and secure Tommy, they would have went into that whale 3-2 heavily armed. There's nothing Owen can do in that situation but hear their terms. And here's where we go back to that conversation that Ellie and Dina had earlier on in the episode. I know the thought of did Nora deserve it is coming back when it comes to Owen and this other girl. Did they deserve to get taken out because of what Abby did to Joel? We know from the beginning of the season they were just along for the ride for real. They gave up on even finding Joel, but things ended ended up happening how they did, and Abby was able to exact the revenge that she's been seeking for all these years. Now Ellie's trying to exact it, and she's taking out everybody else but the one person who took away the person who meant everything to her, to the point where it leaves her stunned, traumatized, and wondering if all of this is even worth it anymore. But more than anything, pissed off at the fact that Abby gets to live. All these other bodies got dropped off, but Abby is the one who gets to live. She could even run into Abby. Didn't even get the chance to take her out. Ironically enough, just as Ellie and the group are about to go back to Jackson the next day, they finally run into Ellie's top op, and she immediately takes out Jesse, who did not even want to be there to begin with. The shit with Jesse's dialogue this episode that had me dead too is the fact that he kept on reiterating the fact that he is not dying out here. He was so confident. He must have not gave my boy the script. Abby takes bro out before his face can even fully form outside the door. Shit was so foul. He bounced off the door and everything. Then you just got Ellie there with her hands up, looking like a victim. The whole time, all of this is on you. Decided to go against the council vote and slide for Joel. Came out here with Dina, who was also pregnant. Because y'all came out here, you know Tommy wasn't about to let y'all just run out there like that. And you know Jesse probably wasn't going to feel confident just having you out there with Dina. So then they both come out here to slide for the both of y'all and get caught up in this bullshit. Now, I want to make this clear. I'm not mad at Ellie for doing what she did for Joel. I do feel like Abby 100% deserves a bullet in her head. From Ellie specifically. But on this path of revenge, she has to understand, and I feel like she understands in this moment, that it's not just you who's impacted by your decisions. Abby seeing that firsthand too. All her people are getting dropped off because of what she decided to do to Joel. And now because of what you decided to do to her people in retaliation trying to find Abby, Jesse is dead. And now Ellie might be dead too. Yo, the screen went to black after Abby got shot. Where have we seen that before? Prime example of if somebody gets shot when that screen go to black, they not dead. Unless HBO heard all y'all complaints about Bella Ramsey playing Ellie and deadass had Abby take her out, then just have it be the Abby show going forward. I think a lot of y'all would probably like that, no lie. In the episode with a little Marvel post-credit scene with Abby at what looks like a WLF base, looking over this balcony, and before the screen goes to black, we get some text on the bottom right corner detailing the fact that this is day 1 in Seattle, which lets you know that season 3 is going to focus heavily on Abby's side of things, and I'm excited to see it. Just off of the changes that they added to this series from the game, I'm excited to see what they do from Abby's perspective. I'm looking forward to seeing her character more on screen. I will say, by viewing the game, I did gain much more of an appreciation of Abby's character as the game went on. I think the same thing will happen with Caitlin Dever's character as the season goes on too. Hopefully I'm right in that. From the little bit that we've seen of her character this season, she was cooking in my opinion. Now, while there was a lot in this episode that I did like I said, the theme of revenge being expounded on, the interactions between Ellie and Jesse, and Ellie's conversation with Dina, there was still a lot of things that I did not like with this episode. I said earlier, having the Seraphites capture Ellie for like 0.5 seconds was pointless. But more importantly, I feel like the Seraphite and the WLF war was not expounded on like I thought it would be in this episode. I'm pretty sure they're saving that for season 3 or Abby's storyline, but the fact that it was so built up in this season, just for us to barely get any Seraphite WLF action throughout, is crazy. I thought we was gonna get a lot more from Isaac's character in this season. This man probably got 20 minutes of screen time in total. He could even reach a half hour. Part of that 20 minutes was him just glazing Abby. Talk about she's supposed to be the next lead of the WLF. Now she's missing. Who the hell is go step up? I mean, brother, do you not know what world you live in? Niggas get dropped off every day in The Last of Us. Find somebody else. I will say though, as much as I didn't like the Abby glaze, it does kind of have me more confident with how Caitlin Dever is gonna get in her bag for the next season. We already know she didn't get much screen time in season 2, so I know she's looking forward to getting in that bag come season 3. But yeah, the Isaac inclusion in this episode to me personally was also a weak point. There's also a part of this episode where Ellie and Jesse are hiding from WLF soldiers who are about to torture this young Seraphite boy. We see Ellie about to jump out to go save him. Now, I like this from Ellie's perspective. Referencing the making of the episode portion of the episode again, someone on the staff mentioned that Ellie was once that boy, just navigating the world of The Last of Us trying to make it to the next day. It makes sense for her character to want to save that boy. But in this moment, I did not like it for the episode. Better yet for the season, because everybody is out here, Ellie, for you. Everybody who's out here would spin for Joel, no question. But in the same breath, niggas is trying to make it home. I know Jesse's told you that at least 3 times at this point. Just because them clickers can't kill you does not mean the gun can't. I don't know, the lack of awareness in the scene kind of killed me a little bit. She tries to throw it back on Jesse, no pause, when she says, oh, you think you're better than me? You didn't even want to go save that kid just now, Jesse. You talking about saving your community, you even want to go save a defenseless kid. Yeah, Jesse didn't even want to be out here to begin with, gang. It's his responsibility to ensure that the people in his community are safe, so he spun for y'all. Make sure y'all get home in one piece. Anyway, that's just a little gripe though, because I did praise Ellie's stubbornness earlier on in the episode. I think it makes sense for the path of revenge that she's on right now, but just be a little bit self-aware. These people aren't out here because they necessarily want to be. Yes, everybody love Joel, but niggas is not out here to throw their life away. The episode gets a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 for me, but I'll probably give the season as a whole a cool 6 out of 10. I'm definitely hoping they bounce back in season 3, but y'all leave your thoughts on the season in the comments.